At my son's full moon banquet, my wife handed our child to her first love. Lucas, I've held you back. From now on, Edward will be your son. Her first love, who couldn't have children because he saved my wife, gladly took the child. I stood at the entrance of the hotel, enduring the strange looks from everyone. I personally set off a salute for them. Brother, I'm giving you my wife and child together. Later, the parents of the richest man announced my identity. My wife then begged me to love her again. At my son's full moon banquet, I was late due to some delays. When I arrived, the crowd was in an uproar. As soon as I looked up, I saw my wife placing our just full moon son into the arms of a man. That man was my wife's first love, Lucas. He had injured his body while saving my wife and could no longer have children. Lucas, I've held you back. From now on, Edward will be your son. You can give him a name, my wife said. Lucas gently took the son from my wife's hands and nodded gratefully. Lila, don't worry. I will definitely treat Edward as my own son, Lucas replied. The originally joyful full moon banquet turned into a family recognition banquet, and there was an immediate commotion under the stage. But after all, they were all from the Leia family. Even if they couldn't stand it, they couldn't speak out. To stop it, I was the only one standing there, stunned at the entrance. A waiter bumped into me, and the sound of a broken cup suddenly rang out. The originally noisy hall fell silent at once. Even the two people standing on the stage turned their heads to look at me. Without making a fuss, I took a salute from a nearby child, twisted it gently, and with a bang, it exploded beside my ear. Come on, let's celebrate the successful recognition of this father and son. The big red, colorful confetti fell from above everyone's heads, and the chattering voices of the crowd also subsided. What's going on? Why don't you applaud and celebrate? Such a touching scene. In the huge banquet hall, no one dared to make a sound. They all looked at me as if I were a lunatic, seemingly unable to believe that someone could be so happy to see their own son being given away. I turned around indifferently, took a glass of wine, and walked onto the stage. Your gratitude is truly great. Just because he saved your life, you give him your son. Then why don't you just marry him? Since you've already given away your son, you might as well give your wife away, too. Anyone could tell the sarcasm in my words, especially the parties involved. A trace of panic flashed in Leia's eyes, but in half a second, she returned to her aloof and calm appearance. It's just that the household registration will be under his name, and the child will take his surname. After all, Edward is still your son. Don't be so fussy about such a small matter. I couldn't help but chuckle. Is this a small matter? Yes, it's a small matter, so you didn't need to get my consent. Then he doesn't have a wife. Why don't you just give yourself to him? Since you want to repay the favor, you might as well go all the way. The Civil Affairs Bureau is nearby, and the divorce procedures can be completed quickly. After saying that, regardless of Leia's ugly expression, I took a few steps closer and raised a glass of wine to Lucas. Brother, I'm giving you my wife and child together. Be more reliable this time. Don't run away in the face of trouble like you did 7 years ago. Leia finally couldn't stay calm anymore. She quickly stepped in front of Lucas and said in a cold tone, Lucas had his own difficulties back then. Henry, do you really have to embarrass him in front of so many people? Embarrassed just now, when I was looked at with such strange eyes by so many people, she didn't say a word. Now I'm just saying something that everyone knows, and she says, I'm embarrassing him. In fact, the person who's really embarrassing me now is her, my wife, who has been married to me for 7 years. Yala's mother and younger brother also stepped forward and looked at me with disgust. What right do you have as a son-in-law to say such things? The child belongs to our Leia family, and Leia can decide whose surname the child takes. Looking at these so-called family members, I just felt that all my efforts in the past had been in vain. Since I came to the Leia family, all the burdens of the family have been placed on me. They took advantage of my humble love for Leia and made me fawn on them a lot. Even Leia thought that as a son-in-law of her family, I should serve them like a slave. If I refused, I would be called heartless and ungrateful, and I would feel deeply ashamed for failing to live up to the support the Leia family gave me in the past. Now, just because Lucas saved Leia, I should give in to him, and I should even give my son to him. In their eyes, my opinion doesn't matter at all, and I don't even have human rights. I've served the Leia family as a servant for 7 years, and 7 years of hard work can't compare to her first love's rescue once. Let whoever wants to be the son-in-law of the Leia family be it. Anyway, I won't be it anymore. Does Leia think that I'm nothing without the Leia family? Does she think I'm still that person from the mountains who was kept in the dark by her? I want to see how the Leia family will get through this difficult time without me. A week ago, I went to the maternity center to pick up my wife, who was going home to recuperate due to some business matters in the company. I arrived a bit late. When I got there, her best friend was also there. They thought I wouldn't arrive for a while. So, the words they said were extremely bold, and every word was Leia's true feelings, full of disgust for me. I still can't let him go. After 7 years, I've never forgotten Lucas. Every word he said when he confessed his love to me is engraved in my mind. The beauty of our first physical and emotional union still lingers in my memory until now. The 7 years with Henry have been torture for me all the time. So what if he's good to me? He married into the Leah family. He's eager to serve me every day. If he hadn't married me, could he have lived such a good life? Just thinking about spending decades more with him in the future makes me want to vomit. I thought I could get used to it after getting pregnant, but I still can't stand it. I feel sick every time he touches me. I couldn't believe that such vicious and straightforward words came from my beautiful and charming wife. It turned out that the decrease in our married life this year had long been traceable. Originally, she was still somewhat generous to me and would sleep with me once a month, calling it a woman's way of maintaining her appearance. Yes, in her eyes, I was just a tool for her to maintain her beauty. Since she knew that Lucas was coming back to the country, the monthly maintenance was also canceled. She always pretended to be not feeling well to avoid having close contact with me. For this reason, I always doubted myself, wondering if I wasn't doing well enough to satisfy her. Now, everything is telling me how pathetic my life has been. He saved you. What am I arguing with him for? You want to repay the favor, right? It would be better to marry him. Anyway, we're going to get a divorce soon, and then you can be together legally. Leah stared at my head, wrapped in gauze, stunned, and then stepped forward to grab my hand. Do you really have to make a scene in front of so many people? Let's talk about it when we get home. I shook off her hand forcefully and replied coldly, no need. That's your home, not mine. Leah stared at the hand that was shaken off, looking stunned. She couldn't accept that the person who had once held her in the palm of his hand now couldn't avoid her. Seeing Leah standing there in a daze, Lucas spoke softly. Leah just feels sorry for me too much. She knows that I've always liked children. It was my oversight, and I forgot to ask for your opinion. Before he could finish his words, Leah had already come to her senses. Why explain so much to him? He threatens me with divorce at every turn. Would he be willing to give up everything? The Leah family has brought him. I think he's nothing without the Leah family. It turned out that in her eyes, I was a vain person. But in the 7 years I had been in the Leah family, not a single bit belonged to me. This was what the woman I had given up everything to protect wholeheartedly thought of me. I closed my eyes and only left a sentence. Remember to come to the Civil Affairs Bureau on time tomorrow. And then I left. After leaving the hotel, looking at the luxurious car parked by the roadside, I still got in. Sir, are you willing to come back? Master and Madam will be very happy to know. The day I was admitted to the hospital, my biological parents came to me. It turned out that I had been abducted since I was a child. I had always known that I was adopted. I had originally thought that I was just an orphan. I never expected that I was actually the son of the richest family in Jiangqing, the Henry family. What's more, I never expected that they had found out that Edward wasn't my son. So, when I didn't know, they had already gotten together behind my back. The heart that had already become numb ached again. I asked Julian to drive back to the Leah family's house. When packing my luggage, I realized that I had very few things of my own. I had never bought a proper gift for myself, and even Leah had never given me anything. I had been reluctant to admit that she had never truly cared about me. The packing was quickly done, and a small suitcase was enough to hold all my things. As soon as I walked out of the gate, I heard Leah's exclamation, "Goodness, the latest model from the Lau family. This car is so cool." Lucas also showed an envious expression. Leah turned around and saw me walking towards them with the car keys in my hand. "Give it here." I looked at her in confusion, my hand gripping the suitcase tightening slightly. "Give me the keys. Didn't you give this car to me? Don't think that a car can make me forgive you." On the way here, I wanted to test the feel of the car, so I drove. For a while, myself, I never thought that Leah would think I was giving this car to her. Every time Leah was angry with me in the past, I always tried my best to coax her. I would satisfy her with all kinds of famous brand luxury goods as long as she wanted them. She had long been used to my various forms of ingratiation. Even this time, she thought that I was just angry for a moment and would still fawn over her. As usual, later, seeing that I didn't move, her face turned cold. "What do you mean? Don't forget that everything you have was given to you by the Leah family. This car has nothing to do with the Leah family." As soon as I finished speaking, Julian stepped forward to take the luggage from my hand and took the keys to open the car door for me. "Is it interesting to rent a luxury car to deceive me?" Leah looked at me with disdain, and even Lucas beside her wore a mocking expression. Even if I told her that the car was mine, she wouldn't believe me. So why should I waste my breath? "Don't forget our agreement tomorrow. I'll be waiting for you at the Civil Affairs Bureau." "Henry, have you had enough of this? Divorce. Divorce. Do you think I'll give in just because you threatened me with divorce?" Yes, she had never yielded to me. Even on the night when we were supposed to be in love, she was just looking for a prey, a helper to support the Leah family. I overestimated myself, thinking that as long as I stayed by her side long enough, I could eventually win her heart. But people will always get tired. I'm already tired and don't want to pander to her anymore. Leia, it's over between us. From the time you had heart-to-heart talks with Lucas online behind my back to all the intimate actions at the party, and then to the fact that you adopted the child to Lucas without my consent at all. You have already made your choice. Leia, who had just looked disdainful, suddenly changed her expression and carefully reached out her hand to try to pull me. I avoided her outstretched hand and took a step back. Since the person you've been longing for has come back, you should be with him firmly and stop looking for someone to be your fool. She was like someone who had been slapped in the face in public, with a pale and flushed face. But when she saw my expressionless face, she changed her expression again. Henry, you're just jealous, aren't you? You just can't stand me being with Lucas, so you're using divorce to force me? Is that interesting? Let's get a divorce, then. I want to see who will regret it the most in the end. I didn't want to argue. I just walked towards her step by step. When she saw my movement, the corners of her mouth couldn't help but curl into a smile. The pride in her eyes seemed to say, "See, you're here to ask for my forgiveness after all." The next second, I sneered. "Excuse me, you're blocking my way to get in the car." The smile on her face froze instantly. "Henry, you'll regret this." After saying that, she angrily pulled Lucas beside her and strode back into the house. Sitting in the car, I watched the house where I had lived for 7 years gradually getting smaller in the rearview mirror. The last trace of nostalgia in my heart disappeared completely. At this moment, even the wind seemed free. The burden that had been tied to me for 7 years disintegrated instantly. When I returned to my new home, my biological parents had already been waiting for me at the gate for a long time. This was the first time I had felt valued since I left my adoptive parents. There were people who cared about my preferences and my mood. The heart that had been tortured by Leia for 7 years was healed at this moment. The next morning, I arrived at the Civil Affairs Bureau on time, but Leia didn't show up. She didn't reply to my messages, and her phone couldn't be reached either. After waiting with great difficulty for 2 hours, she finally showed up in a hurry. To my surprise, she actually brought Edward with her. I knew exactly what she meant. She wanted to see if I would soften my heart and take the initiative to give in. But she didn't know that I already knew Edward wasn't my child. "Honey, Edward has a fever. Will you accompany me to the hospital?" Leia called me honey for the first time on the day we were going to get a divorce. I had hoped for this many times before, but she always said that it was just a title and she felt embarrassed to call me that. At first, I thought she was just shy, but later I realized that she had never regarded me as her husband. "Don't call me that, we're about to get a divorce." Leia rarely softened her expression, and even her tone became gentle. "Honey, you can be angry with me, but Edward is still so young. He has such a high fever. If we don't go to the hospital, something bad might happen to him." She knew the danger. Yet she still used such a young child to force me to give in. After all, I couldn't bear to see the child who I once cherished so much suffer from the illness. I took them to the hospital. Outside the ward, I looked at Leia, who had specially dressed up, and my face darkened. "What do you mean exactly? He agreed to the divorce yesterday, and today you're the one delaying it. Leia, is it that fun to play tricks on me?" Her face looked a bit unnatural. Although there was anger in her eyes, she still stepped forward and grabbed my hand. "Honey, come back. There's a big problem with a project in the company. Those old fogies on the board of directors only know how to fight for power and profit and won't listen to me at all. Please come back and help me. If you come back, we can be like before, a loving family of 3. It was the same old story. She still treated me like a dog that she could call and dismiss at will. "No, I'm not part of your family. Edward's father won't agree with what you're saying." Leia's face instantly turned pitiful, and she forced out a few tears in her eyes. She bit her lip gently and pulled at my sleeve coquettishly. "Honey, don't refuse me. Okay, after all, you're the one who helped build up the Leia group. Do you have the heart to watch it decline like this? Didn't you say that you would always help me, love me, and protect me? Why don't you want to now?" She pretended to be very pitiful, looking heartbreaking. But I had already seen clearly that beneath that beautiful appearance was a cold and heartless heart. "Leia, you were the one who betrayed our marriage first. The Leia group has nothing to do with me anymore. All my past efforts were just wasted on you. No, even if you feed a dog, it will bark. But all I got from you was humiliation." Her face instantly turned pale, and she stammered for a long time, but couldn't say anything. Looking at her like this, the hatred in my heart suddenly grew wildly. "You still have the nerve to bring Edward to me and even morally blackmail me. Touch your conscience and tell me, is Edward really my child?" The woman who had been looking at me with her head held high didn't dare to say a word anymore. Before I left, I only heard a very faint female voice. "Sorry, I just thought it was my illusion." After all, she had never felt guilty towards me. No matter how much I gave, she would always take it for granted. Leia refused to get a divorce, and I didn't indulge her. I directly contacted a lawyer and filed a lawsuit. When I got home, my parents told me that there would be a banquet in a couple of days. At the banquet, my identity as the heir of the Henry family would be announced. To add more mystery, they hadn't leaked any news about me to the outside world. I already had the ability to take on responsibilities on my own when I was in the Leah Group. My parents also planned to hand over the family business to me entirely. When I got home, after the company handover, the banquet hadn't started yet. As soon as I got out of the car, I ran into Leah and Lucas, who were about to enter the house at the gate. I didn't want to pay attention to them at first, but they just had to provoke me on purpose. "Henry, are you okay? Why are you working as a driver for someone? If things are really that bad, just apologize to Leah and admit your mistake. Everything in the Leah Group will still be yours when you go back." "There's really nothing between me and Leah," Lucas said in a sarcastic tone. If someone didn't know the situation, they might have thought he was being magnanimous, but there was clearly resentment in his narrow eyes. He must have realized that he had taken on a troublesome situation and came to me to vent his frustration. Come to think of it, Lucas has never been cut out for business. The Lucas family has been in decline for the past few years, and the problems of the Leah Group this time are not so easily solved. He's probably here at this banquet to seek help from other families. Just thinking about this made the corners of my mouth curl up involuntarily. As long as they're not happy, I'm happy. Whose dog isn't tied up properly at this late hour? What kind of place do you think this is for you to bark? Who are you calling a dog? Henry, don't be ungrateful. Do you think this is a place you're supposed to be? Whoever answers is the one. Lucas's face instantly twisted, and the smile on his lips completely disappeared. He rolled up his sleeves and looked at me angrily, but was stopped by Leah beside him, who reached out her hand. "Come on, Lucas, stop making a scene. Honey, are you still angry? I know I was wrong before I let you down. Please forgive me this time," Leah said. It's really rare for the always proud young lady of the Leah family to admit that she was wrong. "Don't call me that. The divorce agreement has already been sent to the Leah family. Please sign it as soon as possible, Leah." After saying that, I didn't want to continue arguing with them and left quickly. When the banquet started, my parents led me onto the stage and announced my identity loudly. There were congratulatory voices all around, except for Leah and Lucas, who looked up at me with pale faces. As soon as I got off the stage, I was surrounded by the daughters of various wealthy families. Countless beautiful women were around me. There was even a sexy and hot beauty who invited me to dance. I smiled and nodded, not planning to refuse. But Leah, not far away, couldn't sit still. She squeezed through the crowd and grabbed my arm. "He's my husband. You'd better stay away from him if you know what's good for you." In the past, she would never have announced my identity so openly and ostentatiously. I frowned and pulled my arm out of her hand and patted the place she had grabbed, feeling a bit disgusted. "Leah, this isn't the Leah family. Don't bring your young lady's temper here. Which young lady here isn't more noble in status than you?" "Yeah, what's she doing? Henry isn't someone she can covet," said someone in the crowd who knew the situation and also knew about my feud with Leah. They were now speaking up for me. Leah's face showed a hurt expression. She has always cared the most about face. Now that she was being ridiculed by so many people, she still refused to leave. And her first love, Lucas, was hiding behind, too timid to come forward. I didn't want to spoil everyone's mood, so I pulled Leah to a secluded corner. "Have you had enough of this? As you can see, I'm not going back to the Leah family, and I don't care about the Leah family's property. How long are you going to keep pestering me? What about me? Don't you care about me either? You loved me so much. How could you suddenly abandon me?" 2 lines of clear tears fell from Leah's face, and she looked at me almost pleadingly. "Leah, nothing disappears suddenly. My love for you has been gradually worn away by you, bit by bit, during these 7 years." I didn't want to listen to her explanation and directly asked the security guards to throw them out. But Leah seemed not to understand. Since then, she has been coming to the company to block me every day. I was so annoyed by her that I acquired the Leah Group in a fit of anger. I thought that without the company as a reason, she wouldn't come to me, but she still went her own way and even waited for me at the gate of my house. To avoid her harassment, I went on a business trip to the neighboring city. After a busy day, I went back to the hotel and took a shower. As soon as I lay down on the bed, I felt an unusual touch under me. When the light came on and I turned my head, I saw Leah kneeling at my feet, wearing only a black lace dress. "How did you get in here?" "Honey, we're husband and wife." I showed the receptionist our marriage certificate, and she let me in, Leah said with a flushed face. She knelt and crawled towards me step by step. She wasn't wearing anything underneath, and with a slight bow of her head, everything was exposed. I awkwardly looked away. Feeling my throat tighten, I casually threw the bathrobe beside me over her. "Leah, stop making trouble and get out." "Honey, look at me. Why won't you look at me? Am I not beautiful?" There was a reason why I fell in love with Leah. She has a charming appearance, especially when she looks at you with her deer-like eyes, making you want to hold her in the palm of your hand. But I've already made a mistake in love once, and I won't make the same mistake again. Leia, I think I've made myself clear. We had no future the moment you were intimate with Lucas behind my back. Do you think I'm still that ignorant young man? I just find you disgusting in this state now. Her face turned pale, and tears streamed down her cheeks. There was despair and pain in her eyes. I got up and was about to pull her away, but she suddenly grabbed my arm and bit it hard. She used a lot of strength, and blood seeped out from the bite mark left by her white teeth. Henry, why won't you choose me again like you did before? This time, I truly love you. I misunderstood you before. I thought you were just after the Leia family's property. I've realized how much you loved me back then. Why won't you give me another chance? This time, let me spoil you. Okay. After saying that, Leia looked at me with tears in her eyes. At this moment, she looked vulnerable and helpless, just like many years ago. But this time, I won't be soft-hearted anymore. Leia, don't even believe your own words. It's not the first day you knew I loved you. You just took advantage of my indulgence towards you and trampled on me at will. I've seen things clearly and let you go, so don't bother me anymore. I closed my eyes, wrapped Leia in a bath towel tightly, and then picked her up and walked towards the door. She realized what I was going to do and hugged my neck tightly. Honey, no, don't abandon me. I've already begged you so humbly. Please forgive me. Leia, your life and death have nothing to do with me now. Do you want me to politely send you out like this, or should I wait for the lobby manager to come and let everyone watch you get thrown out? Seeing me say this, the person in front of me finally stopped struggling. I stood at the door and watched Leia turn back 3 times as she left. Just as she was about to turn the corner, I still called out to her, "Go back and divorce me. Don't come looking for me again in the future, or I can't guarantee that you'll still have an easy life like now." Leia turned her head stiffly to look at me, her eyes full of disbelief. When she saw my expressionless face, she dejectedly lowered her head. Okay, Leia's departure finally gave me some peace. As soon as I finished my work here, I made an appointment with Leia to meet at the Civil Affairs Bureau. On the way there, by car, I didn't expect to run into Lucas. He rushed in front of my car regardless and blocked me. When I got out of the car, he suddenly pounced on me and grabbed the hem of my pants. "General Manager Henry, please save me for Leia's sake, otherwise they'll beat me to death." It turned out that after Lucas went abroad, he married a wealthy woman. Unfortunately, he was not only promiscuous but also didn't try to hide it. After being discovered by his foreign wife, his property was divided up, and because he flirted with a woman he shouldn't have, he was targeted by others. He came back to find Leia, just to seek shelter. The fight in the KTV last time was because he was found by those people. Poor Leia thought it was her fault that Lucas was injured. I looked down at him haughtily and kicked his hand away. "Don't you always look down on me? Why are you begging me now? Besides, I'm going to divorce Leia today. She has no influence with me." Lucas stared at me with wide eyes, as if he couldn't believe that I really didn't want Leia anymore. "General Manager Henry, I promise I'll never contact her again. Please help me." I frowned at the bloodstains on his legs. In the hospital, the doctor was bandaging him, and I sat by the window watching a group of burly men walking downstairs. All right, I should go now. I stood up and adjusted my sleeves, preparing to leave, but Lucas reached out and grabbed me. "General Manager Henry, you said you would help me, right?" "I never said that. I brought you to the hospital just in case you tried to extort the medical expenses from me. Besides, someone is offering a large sum of money to find you. It would be a waste not to make this money." I gave Lucas a gentle smile, but he looked at me as if he had seen a devil, his pale face full of fear. When I left, I passed by a group of burly men. There was a cry of alarm from Lucas behind me, but it disappeared in an instant. When I arrived at the Civil Affairs Bureau, Leia had just arrived as well. Her once delicate and fair face was full of weariness, and the person who used to be haughty and willful had become silent and listless. When we came out of the Civil Affairs Bureau, the sunlight was a bit blinding, and the fragrance of flowers wafted into my nose. I stretched myself and felt completely relaxed all over. Now I could finally say goodbye to the past completely. I walked towards the basement, ready to drive away, when Leia suddenly called out to stop me. "Henry, I'm sorry." I didn't look back and walked away in the opposite direction from her. The next time I saw Leia was at a street stall. My newlywed wife is someone who loves delicious food. She heard that there were many snacks here and dragged me to have a stroll. "Boss, 1 serving of taro puree roast duck." "Sure, it's 38 yuan per serving." The familiar voice made me stunned for a moment. When I looked up, the boss also raised her head at the same time. Leia had changed a lot. Her face, which used to be well maintained through long-term beauty treatments, had turned sallow under the smoke and fire, and her fair and slender fingers were full of wounds. "Honey, what's wrong? Is that someone you know?" No, I don't know her. I shook my head and placed the freshly baked taro puree roast duck in her hand. Don't eat so quickly, be careful. It's hot, okay, I know you're the most attentive one. I took my wife's hand and led her to explore the next food store. When we left, a childish voice came from behind. Mom, what's wrong with you? Why are you crying? I turned my head slightly and looked at my wife, whose eyes were squinting with pleasure. Because of the delicious food, fortunately, I had finally met the person I truly